And I start to get a little bit apprehensive because I'm pretty much like backed up against the wall. Like there's only one exit and I'm pressed up against this door. And I'm still not completely terrified yet, but I'm like, you guys stop, like stop. And they're getting to the point where they have like ripped my shirt off. And like I'm like almost fully exposed at this point. And they're both coming at me. And I'm like, you guys, like seriously, this isn't funny anymore. And I look to my left where his executive is. Like we know him pretty well. Like we've been around him a lot. He's literally 3 feet away from me. Like if I reached and he reached too, like we could touch. Like he's that close. And I look and I'm like, hey, like I give that look where I'm just like, come on, like step in, like this isn't cool. Like you're a grown man, like you're like 50 years old. I know you have a family, like you know this isn't right, like do something. And this is the part that for as long as I live, I will never fucking forget. It isn't actually the aspect of being sexually assaulted. That's not what haunts me. It's this. It's as these two grown men were pawing at me, trying to take my clothes off, I look over to this man asking for help, and I literally mouth the word help. And we lock eyes. And he looks away. I'm like, okay, there's still 2 more men in the room. And I look to his engineer next, who's sitting right next to him. And I know that he's married and he just had a little baby girl. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna do something. And I look at him next and I'm like, okay, like do something, say something, do anything. And he looks down at his phone and starts texting. And then I was like, oh, fuck. I look at Kanye's cousin next. And I'm like, do something, you know, like fucking do something. And he spins his chair around. And that's when that like gut-wrenching fear set in. And I was like, oh shit. No one's fucking saving me tonight. No one's gonna do anything. No one's gonna do fucking anything. And that's when I was truly fucking scared. At this point, they had ripped my shirt off and they were trying to get my pants off. And I realized that I was completely alone. And I closed my eyes for a second. And I was like, God help me. What do I do? And as my eyes were closed, this is gonna sound weird because I bet a lot of you are wondering like, how the fuck did you get out of this situation? My eyes were closed and I prayed and I said, God help me, what do I do? And it was like clear as day. I heard this in my head and it didn't make any sense. I heard, go towards them. And I was like, oh, fucking great. The one time I asked God for help, Satan answers, because why the fuck would I go towards these 2 predators who are sexually assaulting me? Like, why would I do that? And then all of a sudden it clicked. My back was up against the glass wall. I could not go any further back. That was the only exit. He said, go towards them. They were already drunk off their shit. They were fucked up. So I lunged forward. I stepped forward and it like threw them off balance. Like they were like, oh, you know, and like they stepped back at least 1.5 feet. And the moment that they did, I reached behind my back, I pulled the door and I slipped out, grabbing my clothes. And I ran across the hall, across this corridor, and I hid inside of an empty studio that was black. And I sat there for like 20-25 minutes, just like crying, like, what the fuck do I do? And I'm texting my manager and she's not answering. And eventually, I don't think I'm supposed to say this next part because it could hurt her case, but basically, everything she fucking said is true, basically. Because what I saw next, I fucking saw it. I was the only one who wasn't drugged. I was the only one who didn't drink their drinks, whatever it is. I was the only one. So I saw what happened next and who was involved. And that's why I'm a part of this lawsuit and like named in it. And yeah, it just, that, I mean, I eventually got us both out, and I got us in an Uber, and she obviously didn't remember anything because she was drugged and I wasn't. And apart from the aspect of, you know, looking for help and they turned away, the only other thing that really, really fucks with me is, what about all those other girls that were there? Those 9 other girls who were drinking the drinks before we even got there. Like, I know none of them got out. I know none of them got saved that night. And I'm like, did they even fucking remember? Did they even know what happened to them?